You hit the revenue goal, you get the promotion. The math works out. But instead of satisfaction, you're left with a hollow, exhausted feeling. You're climbing, but the stairs never end. The usual response to this emptiness is to work harder. We try to solve a crisis of meaning by downloading another productivity app or adding 10 more items to the daily checklist. This diagram maps what we call the achievement trap. You set a goal, you achieve it, you get a temporary hit of dopamine, then the emptiness creeps back in, and your brain defaults to the only solution it knows: work harder for the next goal. But eventually, that cycle breaks down. Instead of looping back to work harder, you split off. You land in a crisis of meaning. This specific divergence is where a spirituality coach steps in. It's an intervention built entirely for this exact moment. You can't outwork a lack of purpose. Applying productivity hacks to an existential crisis is exactly like trying to fix a leak with a stopwatch. You need a completely different set of metrics to cure the emptiness. Now, if you hear the phrase spirituality coach and immediately want to close this video, that is a fair reaction. Let's strip away the cultural baggage right now. We are not talking about religious leaders, crystal healers, or gurus handing down a rigid philosophy for you to follow. We are talking about an objective facilitator. This is a professional trained to help you examine your personal values, your relationships, and your internal sense of purpose. Here is the dividing line. If your calendar is empty and your tasks are disorganized, you have a productivity problem. If your calendar is full, but none of it feels worthwhile, you have a purpose problem. True spiritual coaching doesn't demand you adopt someone else's dogma. It requires you to let go of achievement-based problem solving and commit to exploring what actually aligns with your life. This matrix compares 3 coaching lanes. Choosing wrong wastes thousands of dollars. Therapists diagnose clinical issues and trauma. Career coaches focus on external execution and advancement. Spirituality coaches focus internally on personal meaning, value alignment, and intentional living. There is a distinct trade-off here. Engaging this type of coach often means temporarily pausing your immediate career momentum so you can actually build foundational alignment in your life. If you need clinical trauma support, or if you need to hit your Q3 sales targets, a spirituality coach is the wrong tool for the job. When you shift your focus from what you achieve to why it matters, you lose the safety net of objective metrics. There are no quarterly reports for your values. The high-value outcomes of this shift are significant. You gain grounding, deep self-awareness, and a life lived intentionally rather than completely reactive to everything around you. But the cost is emotional vulnerability. You have to confront uncomfortable realities about how you currently spend your time and who you are actually becoming. The return on investment here is clarity, not capital. A great coach will not hand you easy answers. Their job is to create a structured environment that forces you to ask the hard questions. The primary barrier to entry is the relationship itself. Discussing deeply personal beliefs requires a coach who completely respects your specific worldview and matches your communication style. Relying on a search engine is a high-risk strategy. You are highly likely to end up with someone who simply imposes their own biases onto your life. This is the exact friction the Noomii platform is designed to solve. They maintain a vetted network of over 34,000 professional coaches. This vertical flowchart breaks down Noomii's SmartMatch protocol. First is a digital intake quiz, which requires ruthless honesty about your beliefs and doubts. Then, an algorithmic filter and human review curate a final list of 5 specifically tailored professional matches. You will need to invest time up front conducting chemistry calls with these matches, but that time protects your capital. It ensures you have a true personality fit before a single dollar changes hands. Let's be clear on the reality check. Spiritual coaching is an intensive framework. It is not a magic pill that grants instant happiness. This quadrant chart provides a diagnostic to see if you should move forward. The x-axis represents your clarity of purpose. The y-axis tracks your external success and stability. If you land in the bottom right, meaning you have a high sense of purpose but low external execution, you should avoid this service. You need a career coach to build stability. The prime candidate sits in the top left quadrant. You have highly optimized external success, but your clarity of purpose is dangerously low. The ideal candidate is the high achiever who successfully climbed the ladder, only to look around and realize it is leaning against the wrong wall. If you are actively in a life transition, like a major career pivot or becoming an empty nester, this process ensures your next chapter is actually based on your values rather than what society expects of you. The ultimate goal of this entire process is to finally walk out of the dense fog and see exactly where you stand today. The Noomii matching quiz is a zero-risk mechanism. It is a structured way to take that vague feeling of emptiness and translate it into actionable conversations with vetted professionals. Simply acknowledging the persistent feeling that something is missing is a requirement. It is the necessary first step to finally understanding what actually matters.